Welcome back to another episode of They Not Like Us, the podcast where we dive deep into inspiring stories, actionable advice, and game changing ideas to help you level up your life. I'm your host, Aaron, and today I'm super excited to have a conversation with a special guest who's all about transforming lives through fitness and nutrition, Roman Fischer. Roman's journey began at just 15 when he was inspired by his younger brother lifting weights. From there, he made a dramatic shift from playing video games and unhealthy eating to becoming the fitness coach and nutrition expert he is today. But what really drives him is something much deeper. He's on a mission to change lives, fueled by personal loss and a passion for helping people avoid the health issues that have affected those closest to him. In today's episode, Roman is going to share his personal fitness journey, how he overcame anxiety, the biggest challenges he faced, and why he believes your health is the most important thing you have. Whether you're looking to start your own fitness journey or simply improve your health, this episode is packed with value you won't want to miss. Before we dive in, if you enjoy the episode, be sure to subscribe to They Not Like Us wherever you get your podcasts. That way, you'll never miss out on the incredible stories and tips we bring you every week. Now, let's get into it with Roman Fischer.
Hello, welcome back to They Not Like Us. I'm your host, Aaron. With me today, I have Roman Fischer. Welcome to the show, Roman.
Hey, yeah, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure, my pleasure. Can I ask you to introduce yourself and let people know a little bit about who you are and what you get up to, please?
Yeah, for sure. So I do acting, I do modeling, so I'm an actor, model, bodybuilder, and I'm also a high performance coach, helping people just transform their overall minds and their bodies to really become better, become healthier versions of themselves from where they were to really ultimately where they can and will be.
That sounds pretty cool. What's got you to that point in your kind of journey, your career? What's kind of drawn you to helping people with them goals?
Yeah, so what actually pushed me and led me into this whole journey and process of helping people just level up and honestly just transform their minds or bodies, it really led and it really started from when I was younger, actually. So it's crazy, but when I was 15, it actually started with me getting into fitness for myself because I used to never even care about fitness. I used to never even work out. I didn't even care about what I would eat. I would literally, as long as there was food in front of me, no matter what it would be, healthy or not, I would eat it. So I was one of those people that if I see food, I'll eat food. And so, yeah, growing up, that was a lot of my lifestyle. But at the age of 15, not all of that changed, but that's when I started getting into fitness as far as working out, exercising. And so seeing my younger brother, pick up weights for the first time, because he was heavy into those movies from Rocky, those Rocky movies, especially growing up here in the US, that's one of the classics, Rocky. And it's probably that way in a lot of the, different countries. But my brother got into this so heavily. And so that actually inspired him to weightlift. And then seeing him weightlift inspired me to want to finally pick up the weights, start exercising myself, because I started seeing those changes from my brother. He started getting, more strength, more muscle. But even before that, I started picking up on the changes and the increase in his energy, his drive, his motivation, but also the endorphins that he was getting from his workouts that he was doing with the weight lifts. I mean, it was insane. It was like day and night, like how much more energy and confidence he had just the next day. So that really was something that caught my, interest and attention. And so I wanted to start doing that for myself because I actually struggled, and I mean struggled, with low self-confidence growing up in school. I would always be known as that skinny kid, the toothpick, didn't really have any muscle, didn't have strength, wasn't on the football team, things like that. So seeing him do that pushed me into that, lifestyle for myself. And so when I started just establishing a more fitness, mindset, a more healthy mindset of taking care of my body, what I was doing, what I was needing to do to improve my physique, that actually tenfold increased my confidence, obviously strength, muscle, all those things. And then from there, I started to research what was in our foods, what was in our drinks, like what are we consuming, what are we eating, what are we even doing to ourselves. And so after I got into weightlifting, that was the natural follow up. Like, hey, I need to start taking care of what I'm eating too. I can't just weightlift. Yes, that's great. But if I don't take care of what I'm putting in my body, I'm only maybe at best going to get half results that I want to see or half the results I want to see. So when I started to really investigate and research what they're, having in our foods, our drinks, all those things that we consume, usually on a day-to-day basis, I came to that conclusion that most of that stuff isn't even real food. Or it might be real food, but it has a lot of chemicals, has a lot of additives that's really not good for you. And it's not good for your health long term, especially. And seeing all those ingredients that I couldn't even pronounce, and there were like 50 plus ingredients half the time. Sometimes even just in a loaf of bread, you could find 40 to 50 ingredients you can't even pronounce. It's like, what is this? Like, this is nuts. And I know it is different in other countries, like in Europe, continents like Europe, countries in Europe. There are certain things banned there that are not banned here in the US. So I found that out too. And that really made it interesting. That really made it very, very interesting for me to know that. And honestly, it really made me want to err on the side of caution more. It's like, man, I mean, some countries are banning what we're having here in America. So I'm really, really not doing good to my health if I'm eating what we have in our country that's banned in other countries. So I also came to that conclusion as well. And then when I started cleaning up my diet, I'll admit it was not an overnight thing. It was not an overnight process because I was a heavy sugar addict. But phasing myself out of that, phasing myself out of, being addicted to all these added sugars that they would throw in our foods. And honestly, what I was drinking too, oftentimes had a lot of sugar. And people don't realize that we drink our calories too. So it's not just what you eat, it's what you drink as well. But yeah, all that's to say that that pushed me completely into a healthier way of living, just a healthier way of living, healthier way of, eating and everything. And then from there, just being a humanitarian, I really love helping people. So when I started getting into fitness as a passion with what I would, have for my nutrition, for my workouts, when I got that passion and then I combined that with already naturally being a humanitarian, that was just a natural, follow up to be, a fitness coach or a high performance coach, more specifically. So from there, I wanted to start helping people feel the same way I was feeling, get those, same positive health effects and benefits that I was starting to see, that I was starting to feel. Because I went from being very negative, very pessimistic, very depressed, weighed down. I was on a lot of medications for ADHD, OCD, what have you, depression, anxiety. And it's really cool because through just healthier eating and through consistent exercise, consistent, workouts, all that combined with, of course, better sleep, it led me to being able to phase out and wean off all these medications that I was prescribed from my doctors. So that was also another huge win in my life. And that's also another reason I wanted to share this with other people. It's like, man, if I can do this, if I can do this, if I can improve my health, and I love helping people, I should help other people do the same. And that's really and truly what got me into this. And I've never looked back ever since.
Yeah, I love that. What's your diet look like now? What's your average diet? Is it all clean, or is it balanced? Is it sort of an 80-20 kind of deal where you treat yourself a little bit? What does it look like?
That's a great question, man. So I honestly right now it's all clean. It's actually all clean. I know not everyone can say that. And I'm not gonna say that you have to never have a cheat meal to be healthy, because you can still technically have a cheat meal every once in a while and still be fine. I will say though, it is, if you can, if you have that great willpower, it is best to cut out any and all bad, ingredients from your diet, from your nutrition, if possible. If not, at the very least, I would do what you just recommended. Minimum have at least 80% of your foods be healthy. And you can have that cheat meal once a week. twice a week at first if you have to, but I would try to advocate for anyone listening as far as cheat meals go. If you're going to have any of them, I would only have at least one, only have one a week. One a week. Beyond that, I would try to phase them out if possible. But my diet, I don't really have a cheat meal. Yeah. I might have one cheat meal, I'll admit, if it's Thanksgiving. That's the one time I will have a cheat meal. Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas, but that's about it. Other than that, I just don't cheat.
Yeah, I find my diet's not great at the minute, but neither's my training, to be honest. I've just recently recovered from an operation, so my training's not great. And what I find is if I'm not training well, I kind of give up a bit on my diet as well, and I kind of go bad that way. But hoping to get back into it soon. But whenever I've done the cheat meal, whenever I try to eat clean and do the cheat meal, it kind of always kind of sets me off track and gets me psychologically in a bad place where I'm just constantly looking for the next cheat meal.
Yeah.
And it just leads me to breaking on my diet, really, or breaking how I'm eating, and plunges me back into eating crap for a while.
Yes, it's crazy how that works, and it really is a mindset thing. It's nuts because a lot of people, when they think about exercise or even nutrition or a combination there of both, they think that it's all physical or it's just everything beyond that. But it's mainly mental. I mean, of course, there is a physical aspect to weightlifting. There is a certain amount of emotional emotionalness to eating, but it's really all in here. It's all in your mindset and it's all in your mind. How disciplined can you be in your mindset to translate into your workouts, to translate into your way of eating and what you're eating, how much you're eating, all those things.
Yeah, and I think if you are kind of disciplined with your training, you kind of, I don't know, you have that extra focus because you don't want to derail your training with a bad diet. So you kind of, at least for me, they kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
Yes, it's amazing just how well they do go together, and it's a lot of it too. I know it's been said before by some people for sure, but it is mainly, of course, workouts to an extent, but it is at least 70, maybe even up to 80% nutrition. And that's what's going to help make or break your results. So having that good nutrition, at least overall, pretty healthy nutrition, that's the main thing. That is the main thing. And of course, workouts matter to an extent to you for general health, but also for whether you're trying to gain muscle, burn fat, whatever goal you might have too.
Yeah, well, how does it work for you? Do you meal prep, or do you just kind of just go through the day and just only pick healthy foods as you go, or how do you do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if I'm super busy in let's just say in a given week, I do meal prep a bit. So what I'll do is if I meal prep and I'm just a super hectic week ahead that I have to get through, I always pick that one day. It's typically on a Sunday, like today, and I'll just meal prep for the rest of the week, at least the next 5 days, if not even the rest of the week. And that way I have a batch of meals for each, next day, if not even for the rest of the week. So that way I don't have to spend any time making meals. No time making meals, no energy that goes into any meal prepping later in the week. So it does free up a lot of time, and makes it a lot easier. Makes it a lot easier to do other things for sure. Now, if I'm not meal prepping, I don't always meal prep, but that's what I'll do if I'm super busy. Now, if I don't have as hectic of, a week to, get through or deal with, typically what I'll do then is I'll just make sure that I just get each meal in a proper, amount of time. So I make sure to not have meals too close together, but I also don't spread them out too far. Usually pretty balanced meals. Uh, I usually am fasting now, so what I'll do is I'll do two big meals with some filler snacks in between. And when I do that, I'll just make sure I'm getting my macros in and making sure they're as clean as possible for the meals.
Sorry, so you're fasting as well?
Yes, right now, not like full on fasting, like not eating for a whole day type of fasting, but I am intermittent fasting specifically.
What kind of protocol are you on? Kind of 16/8 or?
Yes, 16/8. So what I'll do is I don't eat anything till at least 12 p.m. Sometimes even 1 p.m., but it's typically 12, and then I'll only go till about 7, 8. And then, so yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll fast for 16 hours and I'll eat for only the 8 hour eating window. Yep.
How do you find that? Is that working for you?
Honestly, and it's really good. It's not even so much for weight loss because I found that it's really just being in that caloric deficit, but I have found that I do it more so for the energy and energy boosting benefits from it. So when I do fast, I notice that I'm more focused, I'm more alert, but I'm also just more energetic, I'm more energized. And it's just a lot easier to stay in that flow state, to consistently keep going and honestly not have any brain fog, mental fog. And it just makes things a lot easier and a lot more smooth for my workflow and for my whole, overall workspace.
Yeah, that's good. I've dabbled with fasting myself. I've tried the 16/8, and I've done a couple of longer fasts as well. It just my life's not very consistent. I don't have much of a routine. Where I'm all over the place a little bit, so it doesn't really work particularly well for me. I suppose if you have a regular routine, it's probably really, really good.
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely benefits to it. Definitely can help with your energy and all those things and it can boost your metabolism, so it can actually help with that burning, but it is good to know and it's key to know and understand that even though that's all true and that's all the case, it won't work if you're not at least still in a caloric deficit. So always be in that caloric deficit even if you are fasting. And whether you're fasting or not, always be in that deficit if you're trying to lose weight. Because I know that's the common thing. People want to fast to lose weight, or that's one of the main reasons people do it. And that's fine. But again, be in that deficit if you're going to do it. Otherwise, it just really won't work. But it is good still, even if you're not using it to lose weight. It's just good for increased mental focus, mental clarity, and honestly, just staying in that flow, staying in that flow.
Yeah, I found that with people who do the kind of the 16/8 or even the longer fasts is when they do have their eating windows, they binge and then they consume more calories than they would have anyway, and then it
Yes.
defies the entire point of the whole process.
Oh yeah. So it's definitely, you have to be, if you're going to do it, that's fine. But especially if you're trying to come at it with the intent of weight loss and losing weight, you have to be intentional about your calories still. So that's always what it comes down to, because it's crazy. It's one of those myths that, oh, I can fast and I can eat whatever. It's like, not quite, not quite. Just still got to be in that deficit no matter what, even if you are fasting. So, but yeah, it's funny how that works. It will give you that energy boost, however, but you still got to be in that deficit for sure.
Yeah. Do you train fasted or do you eat before training sessions?
Yeah, so I used to eat before I would train and go to the gym, but I actually just train on a fasted stomach now. And it's not so much that you're going to necessarily burn more fat that way. I've just found it's a lot easier just to train in general, because when I train on a fasted stomach, not eating anything prior, I found it's just easier to get through a workout session. I don't feel bloated, I don't feel heavy, like nothing's, weighing me down internally inside, and I can just get through my workout a lot quicker and a lot easier that way. And I found too that my workouts, I actually have a bit more energy for them too. More focus. I'm able to do each rep and do each set with a lot more intent without feeling sluggish. So it definitely is more beneficial for me. Now, some people like to eat a little something before, and that's fine if that's your thing, if that's what you want to do. I do recommend, though, if you do eat prior to working out, you can have a small pre workout meal, but I would only have a small I would really have a snack ideally to make sure you're not eating too much beforehand. Because that's the worst thing you're going to do is train on a full stomach. It's not fun. I've done it before, and it's not the funnest thing. I'll admit. I will admit.
Yeah. What does your actual training look like itself? Is it just primarily bodybuilding style training, or do you have like a hybrid setup? What are you training at the minute?
Yeah, for sure. I typically do bodybuilding type of training in my workouts. So right now, I was doing 4 days a week before, an upper lower type split for my workouts. But now I do a 5 day split where I'll do upper lower. So Monday, Tuesday, Monday's upper, Tuesday's lower, Wednesday's a rest day. And then Thursday, I do push, which is your chest, shoulders, and triceps. And then I do Friday, which is pull with my back and biceps that I'll work. And then Saturday, I'll do just lower body or my legs. And it's also good to note that on Tuesday, I'll train my legs, but I'll focus more on my quads and some of my calves and abs. But then on Saturday, which was actually just yesterday, I just trained legs. So I'll do more glutes, hamstrings, some of my calves, and my abs, mainly my obliques on that day. And then I stretch after, but that's really good for recovery, of course. But yeah, that's just really, really solid for my bodybuilding type of goals right now. Because right now I'm just trying to cut, and then I'm going to maintain, and then eventually lean bulk again.
Do you do any cardio work at all, or?
Yeah, so usually I only ever really do cardio when I'm cutting. So right now I'm doing very, very minimal cardio because I'm mainly focusing on weights and strength training, which is the foundation. Whether you're trying to, gain muscle, gain strength, or even if you're trying to burn fat and lose weight, you always want to focus on weights more so anyway. But cardio is good for heart health, and it is good to burn extra calories, which can help lead to weight loss and fat loss. So I do some cardio, but it's very minimal. Right now, I'm not really doing anything on the treadmill or Stairmaster or Stair Stepper. Right now, I'm honestly just doing 10-15 minute light walks after my workout, just outside. And I do that about 4 to 5 days a week.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's manageable, sounds it.
Oh yeah, not spending all day on the treadmill. I used to do that. That was that was torture. I'll admit, trying to burn all those calories and trying to be that cardio guy.
Yeah, I'm not one for the cardio myself. Not a big fan.
Yeah.
I do what I have to do.
Oh yeah, weights is so much better. Weights are so much better.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm just lazy, to be fair, but I do prefer just lifting.
Oh yeah, weights are so much easier. It's crazy because you're lifting a lot of weight, whereas cardio you're not really lifting any weight. It's just your body weight against the resistance of that treadmill. So there's obviously a difference, but it just seems like on paper weights would be more difficult, but for some reason I just enjoy weights a lot more. So
yeah, it's well, your clients or the people you help with kind of fitness and nutrition, what kind of set of people are you helping at the minute? Is it a wide range of people? Is it people from kind of all different walks of life at different ages, or is it a specific kind of type of person at the minute?
Yeah, for sure. So I accept and I help, people of all ages, of all different backgrounds. So overall, a pretty wide range for sure. But I do focus on helping, busy professionals, typically middle-aged women that are busy professionals trying to just lose weight, burn fat, burn that stubborn belly fat. So that's my target audience, if you will. But I do help a wide range of individuals for sure.
That's cool. And is it one-to-one? Is it group stuff, or is it like all online? What do you do mostly?
Yeah, so right now it's mostly just all online. And that's really all it's been at the moment. Just all online, all virtual. And I really just help give them those customized workouts and that customized nutrition. That way it helps cater and it's fully tailored to their goals, whether it's gaining muscle or burning fat.
That's good. Do you keep them accountable? Do you have like check-ins and constant engagement with them, or how does it work?
Yeah, for sure. So I do at least one, sometimes even two sessions, depending on the client and their needs. But I usually do at least one minimum a week, a Zoom call. And it's a great coaching session. It's about an hour long, could be less if they don't need a whole hour, but at least an hour long Zoom session. And it's really great to keep them accountable, asking questions about how the workouts are going, how the nutrition's going, if it's manageable, if it's pretty easy, accessible, portable, if they're usually on the go. Because I know I have one client who actually is on the airlines a lot. He's a flight attendant, so he has a lot of traveling. He does a lot of different time zones he'll cross, back to back. So definitely it's portability is key for him. Portability and accessibility. And I would even say to an extent affordability, but really just making sure all that's, working out for them, panning out for them pretty well, their schedule, and how their workouts are going with their schedule, any adjustments I might need to make based off of those things too. That I found that's very important as well. But yeah, those things are really great to just see where their clients at too, what kind of progress they're making, what progress they've made, and what progress they're wanting to continue making.
Yeah, I suppose that's quite difficult as well, because if you're traveling a lot, hotel gyms can suck, right?
Yeah. I know all too well about that too. It's when I've traveled a lot, and I have. But yeah, when you're traveling, you're always on the go, just go, go, go. And then you go to some of these hotel gyms. I mean, you luck out once in a while, I'll admit, but that's rare. Usually those hotel gyms, you go to them, you ask, okay, do you have some kind of fitness center, some kind of gym here? You see it, and it's just like this treadmill. Maybe if you're lucky, you might get some resistance bands, maybe even some weights. You're like, oh, of course you can manage that and be very, creative and get creative, but you have to get a lot more creative then. But it is a lot better to have weights, have the whole setup, so that we have more options for sure.
Yeah, I struggle with stuff like that when I haven't got the kit. I really struggle, and kind of lose a bit of motivation and really struggle to get myself going.
Oh yeah, I'll admit, even for myself, I don't mind calisthenics. If I have to do them, I have to do them. But I do prefer 100% weight and straight training over, calisthenics and cardio. That's, weight training, strength training. That's my favorite. It's my go-to.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I don't know what it is, but I just enjoy it more, I guess, and feel like I get a lot more out of it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but traveling is difficult. Is it the only client that travels, or do you have quite a few that travel a lot?
Yeah, for sure. So I've had at least a good handful that does travel a lot. Some of them are just very much home based. Some of them work from home, so it's pretty easy for them. I mean, they're the easiest to work with because they're never on the go. They can either go to the gym or they can just work out at their house if they have a home gym, or even if they just love calisthenics and they want to just work out from home. So I do have most clients not traveling, but I do have a handful that they do travel a lot. I've actually had, it's funny, a couple flight attendant clients who do that. Who's also, one of them was also a realtor. So they're literally doing a lot of different things, but traveling a lot in the process. But yeah, definitely a handful for sure. Just always on the road, traveling to different states, cities, and seeing different things, which is great. But it is a little harder for them to stay consistent, but I have noticed with that being the case, and with that being said, I've been able to help customize their workouts and make them where they're not too extensive, not too intense, not too long, but also just, long enough, just intense enough to get the results, while also being able to be very time effective for their schedule and their ever changing schedule, I should say.
Yeah, fair one. What do you enjoy the most then about helping your clients transform their health and fitness?
Man, I'd have to say what I really have loved and what I've really found to be the very most rewarding and very most enjoyable about the process is seeing where they first started. So, seeing where they first started in their fitness journey, like right before they even signed up with me. And then, of course, when they started working with me, started getting that relationship, started getting into their fitness goals, into their fitness journey. So, seeing their introductory phase to where they've, gotten, not necessarily where they finish, because I always believe your body's always under construction. Like you're never going to be perfect. No one ever is. We always have room to grow. We always have room to improve and get better and honestly improve on. And that's what makes it great, because it's a never ending, process. It's a never ending transformation, which is really, really interesting because it keeps the journey interesting that way. It never gets stale, never gets stagnant. So seeing where they started, though, essentially, to where they end up and where they're continuing to go, and just the continuous transformations. And not just that, but of course, seeing the physical changes, but hearing it verbally from them and seeing the glow, just the, overall positive glow, the positive just aura, on their face from them, just seeing how different they become. Honestly, the whole 180 that they did, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, and seeing just how much happier, how much more confident, and how much better off and healthier that they look, say they look, and how they feel. And just seeing that, hearing the overall excitement, hearing the excitement in their voice to you is very, very, very rewarding. I mean, words can barely describe it. I really don't even think they can, but seeing just that overall transformation, it is literally, literally exceptional.
Is there a specific success story, from one of your clients that's had a lasting impact on you, or is it more just a culmination of multiple people's success?
Definitely at this point, I will have to say it's definitely a multiple range. It's a multiple range. It's amazing just all the different clients and different stages of where they were to where they are now, and seeing and hearing their success stories is just amazing. But the full on combination is powerful. It's powerful.
You mentioned briefly as well about the impact on kind of mental health and people's mindset as well. What kind of experiences have you had with that, or through your clients?
Yes, yeah. For as far as mindset goes, because it does govern all. But I've noticed with some of my clients, some of the clients that I've had, and some of the clients that I still have currently to date at this point, I've seen it where their mindset was not in a good place. And honestly, it's crazy because when their mindset was not in a good spot, when their mindset was not in a good place, they weren't motivated. And it's crazy how effective that can be, for better or worse. How their mindset, whether it's my mindset, our mindset, or in this case, their mindset, it wasn't in a good spot. It was not in a high state or a high frequency. I know some people do, some people don't believe in energy, but basically the high frequency or high energy mindset, the more limitless mindset, that's going to help them get into fitness and work out. So when they were in a more low state, a depressed state, it was hard for them to want to step out and work out. Even when they were working with me, there were things that, would come up. That's part of life. Things happen, but they would have these events in life that would come up in their personal lives, and it would really affect their, not professional, but their fitness life, if you will. And so it would affect them from seeing the results they would want because they would put off a few workouts here and there, and they would start getting out of that consistent phase, and they would start losing that motivation. And that definitely, stalled their progress some, of course. But what was cool is through enough coaching, enough guidance, through enough motivation, and just overall discipline that I was helping give them, and tips that I was giving them to get back on track, get back on the course, get back in the game, essentially, through enough of those things and helping them remember their why. It's crazy. It's paramount how much it changed, their mindset, how it elevated from being in a lower state for them to being in a much, much higher state, a much higher frequency, and their energy shifted. And obviously it wasn't always overnight, but some of these clients, it was almost overnight. They just did a total 180 when they did the tips and practice and utilized the advice, the information that I was giving them to elevate their mindset, elevate their focus, and elevate just their overall mentality. They noticed a huge change in how motivated they were and how consistent they yet again were. And it was incredible then seeing the progress they were making and seeing the changes that they would make with their body and with their overall, habits, with their health, with their fitness. So it's crazy, but mindset is everything. Mindset is literally the foundation. It's the foundation. It is what will help make or break your fitness. It will literally make or break your fitness if you allow it to. So making sure to have your mindset set in the right place, I like to say.
Yeah, it can be difficult though. I suppose we all face setbacks in fitness and in life. Be it an injury or personal loss or whatever it may be. How do you bounce back and stay motivated in those kind of situations?
For sure, for sure. Yeah, because that's not always easy to do. And it is inevitable, just like you mentioned, life happens, things get in the way, obstacles and issues will arise, whether we like it or not. So when these things do take place and when these things do occur in our lives, whether it's in someone you know or in your life, I found the very, very best way and the very, very best approach, or actually different approaches here that I've taken, that I've helped other clients take that have been tremendously helpful and effective, is first, just remember your why. So, like I mentioned earlier, that I help with my clients, remember your why. Remember why you started. Why did you start this journey? Why did you even start this process? What led you into fitness in the first place? What led you to working on and towards this goal that you're trying to achieve? What was the real driving reason behind it? Is it because you struggled with low self-confidence? Is it because you want to, attract that person in your life that you weren't able to attract before? Like, what is the actual reason for you trying to transform your body? Are you trying to live longer? Are you trying to see your kids longer and be around for them longer? So what is that real reason? So really getting that why dialed in and bringing all that to the forefront of their mind, or your mind in this case, it is it is so effective. It's insane because it doesn't sound like it would be super effective to some people, but it is actually a lot more effective in practice than it sounds. So really pinpointing and really remembering your why, whether it's writing that down, saying it out loud, or maybe a combination there of both. But just really doing that will be tremendous and honestly life-changing. And I would say beyond that, just remembering all the past roadblocks, all the past challenges that you faced that you didn't like, but that you were actually able to manage and push through. So remembering those and writing those down, if you can remember them, remember as many as you can, write down as many as you can remember, writing down all the past challenges, all the past roadblocks that you pushed through and that you honestly got through. And that's what's going to also help you get through this challenge, even if it is a new challenge that you've never faced before. Knowing that you were able to, face other challenges that probably are similar or somewhat similar, that is going to give you that drive, that motivation, and more of that strength, that mental strength, that emotional strength, if you will, to see this through and get through it. The next tip I want to really add in here too, that I found to be very effective, is give yourself time to grieve. Give yourself time to grieve. You're human. So understand that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. So you're going to grow out of this, and know that for the long term. Know that for the long term, but also know that you are human. So sometimes you do got to give yourself that little bit of time to reset, to grieve, and to just get through it, so to speak. And if that means going for a walk, getting out to nature, whatever that is, those are also great ways to deal with it while you're grieving. To spend time in nature, maybe go for a walk, go for a hike, go by the beach if you have a beach nearby, or even just go by a lake or some kind of waterfront, somewhere that you can find to be very, relaxing and very calm and peaceful. And that's going to help you just calm and even reset your mind. Because that that is sometimes what we need, is to reset our mind. Because life can be so hectic. Life can be so go, go, go. Life can be so frantic, and honestly can drive some people up the wall. Let's be real here. So while that can be true, and while that is true for really everyone at some point, because life will do that, let's be realistic. But let's also be realistic that you can reset your mind and you can bounce back from this. But give yourself time to reset and reset your mind. And then when you do that, if it's a day later, days later, maybe it's a week or weeks later, maybe sometimes for some people it's a month later or months later. But however long that takes you, try to bounce back as quick as you can, but give yourself that sufficient amount of time mentally and emotionally to finally reset, to fully reset your mind. So that way you can come back that much stronger.
Yeah, with it, that's some great advice there, Roman. But what I want to dig into now is dig into what what was the biggest obstacle you faced in your kind of journey, and how did you overcome that?
Yes, the biggest obstacle I faced personally was, I'll be honest, it was actually, okay, this was when I was a bit younger. This was when I was about 20 years old. So really just having that loss, seeing the loss. And this was someone that I grew up with, someone that I knew, someone that I loved in my family. But one of my grandpas actually, who I really, really was close to, passed away due to cancer. And so that was a rough spot for me. That was a very rough spot for me, emotionally, mentally, and honestly, it affected me in all areas of my life because just like I mentioned earlier, when your mind's affected, it's going to take a toll on basically every part of your body and every part of your life around you. So that really made it hard to deal with, to live with, and cope with. And so getting the news from my mom, who got the news from her brother, she then eventually told me, and then I ultimately found out that my grandpa, he passed away. Eventually found out that he died from cancer. And honestly, it struck me. It struck me hard. It struck me really, really difficultly, emotionally. And it made it hard to want to keep going. It made it hard to want to honestly stay consistent in the workouts I was already doing. It made it hard to even want to, really get out of bed the next day. That's really how much it affected me just internally. And again, it so much internal, baggage and pain and hurt and agony can actually affect you externally. So that's what was starting to happen for a bit. And then going to his funeral, I mean, that just hit me. That hit me hard. I'll be honest with you. But out of that, even even with all that pain and emotional hurt and that loss that I faced and that my family faced, of course, as well, it, of course, not right away did I heal by any means. But I will say within the month upon that happening, since his passing away, it actually, and not everyone can do this, but it actually pushed me and it gave me that fire. It gave me that overall drive to want to just push through and use that pain that I had, that I was feeling, really feeling at that time, for fuel, and use it to better, just not just what I was doing already, but better my health, better my workouts, better just my overall well-being. Because my grandpa, one of the main reasons he passed away was due to a sugar addiction, being a heavy sugar addict. And that's something I was, and I shared that same exact, trait that he had. And it was really scary because I was thinking to myself, man, if he could pass away from that, I mean, I could just as well, not, right away, of course, but over several years and decades, especially, I could honestly catch the same kind of illness from all the unhealthy eating and very much unhealthy habits I had. So using that and using that pain for fuel and motivation to clean up my nutrition bit by bit and gradually just better what I was putting in my body and what I was doing with my body and starting to treat my body more like a temple and cleansing my body from the inside out. That really made it a lot easier to do that and phase out of all the sugars, all the added sugars, all the unhealthy, just overall, just BS that they put in our foods and drinks, especially here in America. So I will say that was a huge challenge and struggle for me with my grandpa's loss. But using that pain for fuel actually helped me get to where I am now. Or at least that was one of the main reasons I was able to clean up my nutrition. Because yes, my brother inspired me to get into fitness and work out, and that's great. Yes, researching these ingredients and why they're bad and why we shouldn't put them in our body, that's great too. But what really pushed me into being 100% consistent and 100% disciplined and 100% motivated to stay the course in my fitness with, not just working out, but healthier eating, was the loss of my grandpa. And it's sad to say that it could come to that. And sometimes that's what it takes, though, for some people to finally change everything, mentally, internally, and getting that motivation and honestly that drive then to use any and all pain from that experience to then transform and just clean up their nutrition and not let that affect them. Because I wanted to make my, grandpa proud. I wanted to make him proud. I wanted to live that life that he could have lived and make him proud from, where he is now to having him see what I'm able to do with my body and what I can do to help other people now in the process. And just feeling that better energy, that cleaner energy inside, not having all these chemicals, not having all this added sugar and all this extra baggage that they put in our foods, and just cleaning that up, clearing that out of my diet and doing it for good. And now it's just amazing being able to help other people out and really practicing that, humanitarian way of life in the process.
Yeah, it's so important to get that right, really, for our health and longevity. Life is short, isn't it? And I think when a lot of people out there have lost people, me included, and I think it really makes you take stock and realize that how short life is, and that we need to make the most of it.
Yes, for sure.
But also on the other side, we are all living longer now, in general. So we're all living longer lives, and what we don't want as well is to get into our elder age and be unhealthy and unfit and not be able to actually live our lives. And that's also the balance. So we need to get that right. We need to get to a point where we're able to go into our later lives and still live and still, be mobile, still be able to do the things that we want to do.
Yes, 100%. It is so important. And they do say health is wealth. And I know it sounds a bit cliche to certain people, but it really is true. And there's no denying that health is wealth. If we don't have our health, we don't really have anything, because you could have $1 million or more in the bank account. But if your health's not there, no amount of money is really going to save you at that point if you're on your deathbed and you have certain death. So really making sure you clean up your health and prioritizing that before anything. Then from there, just helping other people. It's the best thing. It really is.
Yeah, it's about that quality of life, isn't it? So, money's great to a point, because again, it'll give you quality of life to a degree. But
Yes.
if your health's not there, it doesn't matter really how much you got in the bank. If you can't move about, you can't, spend time with your sons, your daughters, your grandkids, whatever it may be, then it's going to be a pretty miserable existence.
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%. It's so true. Again, yeah, money does help, but yeah, getting that health in check first before anything, no doubt, is key, is number one.
Do you do any blood work or anything like that, Roman, to assess your health?
Yeah, for sure. Once in a while, I'll do it just very periodically. But when I do, utilize the blood work, I found that it's always come back really well. There was only 1 or 2 times years back, where I found that my vitamin D was a little low, not dramatically low, but just a little low. Because I'm not always outside, but when I am, it's not always super long. So I found that out. So what I've done is I've just supplemented my, blood and my internal system with more vitamin D, whether it's just more vitamin D in food, or sometimes I'll take a vitamin D supplement, and that can actually help as well. But recently I've been getting out more in the sun anyway, so I've learned over the years to really enjoy nature. Though it can get hot in the summer, don't get me wrong, especially where I'm at, it's still enjoyable to at least get out for, 10, 15 minutes minimum, go for a walk, maybe go for a quick little hike somewhere. So that's also very enjoyable. And that's helped me too a lot with any possible, depression that I faced in the past. It's also helped clear that up, because getting that vitamin D, getting some sunlight is really good for your health. And not everyone talks about that. And it's not always prioritized like it should be in discussions, for sure.
Yeah, I supplement vitamin D because I'm in the UK, so we've never seen the sun, but hopefully one day we'll see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just wet and miserable here all the time. But what can you do? Need to move somewhere hot.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was in California just earlier this year, actually, there were some people from the UK that where I asked them, I was like, so do you enjoy more so in the UK being there or being here in California? And they were like, well, the UK is nice, has its pros and everything, but there's nothing like being in California, nothing like being in California with the sun and everything. It's like, hey, yeah.
Yeah, the weather just makes things nice, right? Because you can just do a bit more. You can do more stuff outside without. I mean, you can do stuff outside anyway if you wanted to. Here, it's just not as enjoyable when it's sideways rain straight in your face, or overcast and dark and miserable. But I think there's something just kind of boosts, and it probably is partly that vitamin D. It just boosts your mood, when you're in the sun, and you want to do more things outside or go to the beach, and then that equally boost your mood, and it can have a positive effect all around, really.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's really amazing how effective the sun and vitamin D is for your health and how much it can actually influence a more positive, balanced uh, mindset, a more positive, balanced, healthy mindset, and just a way of living and an overall mood. It's insane the effectiveness it has on it. I never thought about it too much when I was younger, but as I've studied a little bit more on it, and of course experiencing both sides and not having as much vitamin D, having more, I have noticed a shift in my mood even. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah, I've noticed it for a long time, especially the winter here, where they get dark, cold winters. I get pretty miserable, to be fair. And in the summer, I'm a lot more, I don't know, happier and outgoing, I guess.
Nice.
But that's why I supplement. I figured it out and supplement, so that does and has helped me a bit. So hopefully that'll continue to help.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That's important.
Considering you got the weather out there, do you do much training outdoors? Do you do any? Is there any kind of outdoor gyms or anything like that?
Not too much where I'm at right here, but when I was in California visiting California, I have noticed that there's a lot of outdoor gyms. It was really cool. I actually earlier this year went to Gold's Gym in California, and they had this outdoor center. Of course, you could work out inside too if you wished, but you could also just as equally work out outside. And I preferred that actually because you got the vitamin D, you got the sun, and you were even able to get a nice pump in with some of the machines outside. Of course, you had Muscle Beach not too far off from there, so all classic, iconic, stuff there. But it was amazing. It was really fun, just getting a good workout in, seeing honestly some celebrities along the way. That was pretty cool. That was pretty neat, and doing all that in the sun with just a great solid workout. It was very incredible. It was a very much enjoyable experience, I'll admit.
Yeah, I can imagine that's good fun. I think the closest I've got to that is when I was in the military and we were overseas, and we had our own makeshift gyms where we made out of like kind of concrete and
Oh wow.
just whatever we could find. Really, we made our own weights and stuff.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Where were you stationed, actually?
So I was in the UK a lot, but I did go overseas to Bahrain and to Oman, a bit of time in Cyprus and stuff like that. Nothing major. I never went to the front line, so I never went to Afghanistan or Iraq, any of that.
That's good. That's good. Stay safe. Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, I wanted to go. That's the reason I joined, but it just unfortunately never happened for me. So
Gotcha.
but yeah, so that's the closest I've got to anything like that. But I would love to go to California and go Muscle Beach. That's
Yes,
something
you
I'd like
gotta
to do.
go. If you've never been, you definitely gotta go. It's incredible. It's a lot of fun.
Definitely. Where can people find you, Roman, if they want to find a bit more about you and get in touch with you?
For sure, for sure. If you want to find out more about me, what I do, all the clients I've helped with their transformations and testimonials, you can go to my website at romanfisherofficial.com and you can fill out a quick application. And then from there, we can get started on any fitness goals that you need help with. And you can also find me at my social media at Roman Fisher Official as well, at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn, if you're also on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've got you on TikTok a few times. You do a lot of live stuff as well.
Yes. Did you join my live? You may have joined my live, actually.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I do a lot of different lives and Q&As usually, or I do some workout lives. as well on TikTok. So that's been very enjoyable, just mixing my passion with already working out, answering questions now and then on the live. So that's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
How do you find it? Do you get a lot of good questions on there, or is it predominantly just go on with stuff from your clients?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. I get some people that tune in. Some of them have been clients, but then I get a lot of different questions from different people from around the world, which is really really neat. But yeah, I'll get some really great questions that they'll ask that sometimes I'm even thinking for a second. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know the answer to that, but really great deep questions sometimes for sure.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great tool, isn't it? You can reach people all around the world now, and can help people in all corners of the earth, really. But what is your clientele like? Is it mostly in the US or is it global?
Yeah, right now it's mostly in the US, but I have had some, funny enough, from the UK actually. So that's really cool. Yeah, I've had some from the UK, between there and then mainly, of course, in the United States.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good. Um, just got, have you got any final thoughts that you want to leave us with before I end the show? Or
Yeah, for sure. So, if you're struggling with just staying the course, maybe you're struggling with staying consistent, maybe you're just struggling with getting to the next level in your fitness journey, in your fitness, course. If that's you, if it sounds like you at all, I just want you to know and understand this. Motivation, it's important. We all need that. We all need that fire inside of us to get started, to make progress and make headway in our journey, even outside of fitness, but especially in fitness. But I want you to know this: motivation, it gets you going, but consistency keeps you growing. So you got to stay consistent. You got to have a game plan. You got to have a guide and a strategy, essentially, to keep making progress. Because motivation is great, but it does come and go. So you got to be consistent. You got to have some kind of game plan. And of course, know your why, know why you're on this journey. So that way you can be consistent and not just have motivation that comes, it's great, but it goes. So keep that consistency with your why, with why you want to be on the journey. And then, yeah, just remember everything you have accomplished because you're going to get to your goal. It's just a matter of time.
Roman, my man, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate you coming on.
No doubt, no doubt. Likewise. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Right. Catch you all later on. Peace.
Hey, listeners, if you've been enjoying They Not Like Us, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a positive review and subscribe. It might seem like a small thing, but for an independent podcast like this, it makes a huge difference. Your support helps the show get discovered by more people, allowing us to bring on even more amazing guests and continue sharing content that resonates with you. So if today's episode or any past ones have sparked something in you, hit that subscribe button and drop a quick review. Your feedback keeps this community growing, and I'm so grateful to have you along for the ride. Thanks so much.